Well, I would definitely say ChatGPT by OpenAI and the Bing chatbot as well, like which is very similar to ChatGPT. I would say one of the reasons being it, as an engineer, it lets me build on top of that technology.
Hi, all. So today I have Chinmay with us, who is an accomplished engineering leader at Microsoft, specializing in ad tech, AI, and machine learning. Chinmay's contributions extend to various domains, including distributed computing and applications. With a strong background in software architecture and technical leadership, Chinmay continues to drive innovation and collaboration within the tech community. Let's welcome Chinmay on 10 Minutes of Hiring Wisdom. Hey, Chinmay, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Manal. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, Chinmay, I'd like to get into your engineering leadership experience at Microsoft, which specifically specializes in ad tech, AI, and machine learning. So, according to you, what are some of the emerging trends you foresee shaping the future in these fields, particularly in terms of their impact on industries like healthcare and advertising?
Well, I've been in advertising for a while now, almost a decade, but I've never seen something have as much impact on the industry in general as AI and specifically the onset of generative AI, right? So, in the last couple of years, or like not even a couple of years, when ChatGPT came out, it took the world by storm, right? And then there's been a race to try to figure out how we can use this newfound technology to do things beyond just chatting with people. How do we actually take this technology and improve the experiences that we are generating for users around the world through advertising, wherever they're viewing it? At the same time, uh, how do we make this whole advertising experience more comfortable for people in terms of ensuring them that we are not invading their privacy and we are respecting their consent, right? So some of these things were at loggerheads in the old world where we relied a lot really on techniques, like the industry in general relied on what people would say is tracking them around the internet, right? uh, AI and generative AI essentially has given us the ability to provide, to connect, I would say, goods and services from smaller local businesses around them in their own local community to users who need them without invading their privacy while respecting their consent. So delivering value through and through, right?
I like that.
Similarly, yeah, in I would say healthcare industry, right? uh, if you think of AI, it's a lot of people would call it something that is like, going to replace them, or they fear it. We go by what we've seen in movies like Terminator, but I think the right way to think about AI is like something that can assist us, that can help us do more, do better. So in terms of new drug discovery, in terms of doing better analysis of say medical imaging and things like that. So we have sufficient scientific evidence that shows that uh, AI image recognition is actually better at uh, detecting some forms of diseases or cancers than humans who can do certain errors, right? And that doesn't speak less of the humans, or it's not meant to replace the human doctor who's an expert at looking at that image and diagnosing certain diseases, or certain diseases and things like that. It is actually freeing the doctor from the responsibility of, like, trying to diagnose that image, for example, in this very specific case, and focus on like what medical procedures, what remediation, what other things can I as a doctor do to help my patient now, right? So it becomes assistive, it becomes something that empowers us. That's how I think we should see uh, AI and Gen AI generally, in terms of like, where things are trending towards the future
No, I think
for almost all industries, I would say.
for sure, I think you touched upon something very important because these days we're seeing news like AI is going to take over the world. It's going to replace so many of the workforce. But people need to realize that AI can assist them with their day to day tasks, where it can help in optimizing their current processes and maximize their efficiency. Like you mentioned, a doctor who would be spending hours diagnosing something can use that time in surgery where they can be much more efficient and can get to more patients in the same time that they would be diagnosing someone. So thank you so much for sharing that. That's definitely very insightful, Chinmay. Chinmay, I know you're very passionate about organizing discussions around the topics of generative AI in healthcare and responsible AI entrepreneurship. What inspired you to delve into these areas, and why do you think there are a lot of ethical considerations that people need to take into consideration when they're deploying such AI practices?
Yeah, so I think artificial intelligence in general became a common term that people think about, people talk about in the last 5 to 10 years, I would say, right? It's existed as a field for a long time, right? But it's become more common language term in the last 5 to 10 years, and then since the last year, as you said, like it's blown up, right? And the reason for that is it is a very powerful tool, a very powerful technology that we as humanity have never had. And with anything that's that powerful, there are always risks. Like, yes, like we don't want to create fear that we're going to have the Skynet and Terminators who are going to come and kill us, but we still risk a lot of damage in terms of misuse of that technology. We've seen some of that with image generation, with the Taylor Swift fiasco that happened a few weeks ago. But we also have like risks, like we can leave large swaths of uh, populations, communities behind if we don't use AI responsibly to pull them together with us, right? To pull them ahead with us. And what generative AI has given us more than anything else, right? It's given us a new user interface, unlike something we've ever had before, right? Like previously, if you wanted to use a calculator to add up numbers, you have to learn to use the calculator. It might be a simple thing, but you have to learn to use a calculator like the inventor intended you to use it, right? With generative AI, I can use human language to interact with technology in ways that you could not do before. I can say, hey, whatever, Siri or Google's thing or OpenAI's chatbot, like, what is 2 plus 2? And it'll get back to you with saying, like, oh, 2 plus 2 is 4. Maybe it'll also give you an explanation, right? So that what it has done is democratize access to artificial intelligence and given access to this new technology to a lot more people than they would have than could have been done before. And there's risks that this could be used to spread misinformation, to exploit some people who are not uh, aware of how this technology works, what it can do, to social engineer, to run scams. At the same time, it can be used to build assistants that help us in so many tasks, right? I mean, we have a concept of asking for help from other humans. What if we could extend that to technology helping us and enabling that help through human like interaction, right? So there's a need for us experts, us practitioners in the field of AI to actually spearhead this progress, this new technologies adoption with responsibility and ethics in mind, right? I think it's very important for us to push for responsible and ethical use of AI. And that's something that I always emphasize when I speak to people, when I talk about it. Uh, yeah. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. I'm an optimist. I like to see like the world that can be with this new technology rather than creating fear or uh, raising potential for misuse.
No, I think whenever something new comes out, there's always this fear of how the ethical considerations might be. Because essentially, when something new comes out, there's a lot of things that need to be discovered. So, making sure that the leaders are spearheading it into the right direction, whether it's deploying it in the right way, whether there's privacy concerns, is something that's always very important. So, thank you so much for sharing that, Chinmay. Chinmay, next question would be is around your experience at Microsoft as an engineering leader. Can you tell us more about your role and if you're hiring for any positions? Because a lot of people these days are unfortunately being laid off. So if people are looking for jobs, they know what to search
Yeah,
for.
no, absolutely. definitely been a tough market for the last 1 year. On our end, we are working on basically helping other enterprise clients figure out how to use this new Gen AI technology, right? So in this day and age, like, anyone and everyone wants to be involved with Gen AI. Anyone and everyone wants to use it, right? Like they want to be associated with it. What my teams and I personally work on is trying to help them understand like how they can connect their business needs to what Gen AI can do from them and how they can get started with it, right? Uh, in terms of hiring, Microsoft itself is like, hiring in general, like, always selectively, but like, still it's the I would what I would recommend is check out the positions on the careers website. Like they have a lot of positions open around the world, not just in the United States, right? And we always want to have good qualified people help us build the future of this generative AI, help us create a better world.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Last question, Chinmay, because you are very passionate about AI lead generation, AI specifically. What is your favorite AI tool up to date? Whether it's Jasper.io, whether it's Hunter.io, whether it's ChatGPT specifically by OpenAI. I'd love to know why. What's your favorite tool, and why is it your favorite tool?
Well, I would definitely say ChatGPT by OpenAI and the Bing chatbot as well, like which is very similar to ChatGPT. I would say one of the reasons being it, as an engineer, it lets me build on top of that technology and create more interesting chatbots, something that can take some domain knowledge from the data sets that I give it, and give me more domain specific answers, things like that. So just helping me play around, understand what it can do, and give me ideas about like how we can actually use it to help others, right? This is something I also do a lot in terms of trying to help other companies or other people figure out like how they can benefit from it, right? So I try to understand their use cases, then I try to see how I can use Chat GPT or like, the more LLMs basically to help them. So I get to play around with these technologies a lot and learn a lot myself, right? So that's yeah, I would say like that's the reason ChatGPT and the Bing Chat bots are some of my favorite tools in this new area.
Okay. Well, Chinmay, this concludes our conversation. Thank you so much for coming on the show, for sharing your wonderful experience, for throwing positive light on AI. A lot of the, a lot of the, a lot of people these days are very scared just because there's a lot of people being laid off, so they're blaming AI for specifically replacing them. But when you look at AI in a more positive light, you realize that it's doing more good than bad, and people need to take it to the advantage where they can equip themselves with the skills to perform in a better way using AI. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.